Red Sox, for the first time in 2007, are trailing in a postseason series. Jerry Remy, Jim Rice with me in studio. We'll break it down for you as the Indians take Game 3 of the ALCS. WB Mason's extra innings begins right now. Kenny Lofton returned to Cleveland during the season, and for the first time since coming back, he hits a home run in an Indians uniform, and it's a big one. A two-run homer in the second inning. That's the margin of victory tonight for Jake Westbrook and the Tribe. They take Game 3 and take a 2-1 lead with a 4-2 victory at Jacobs Field. Hello and welcome into our NESN HD Television Center, everyone. Tom Karen, Jerry Remy, Jim Rice. This is WB Mason's extra innings, and this is gut check time. We said it at the beginning of the night. Now the Red Sox trail 2-1.
Well, you know, Tom, we talked earlier in the pregame show about if Westbrook gets the ball up, the Red Sox will light him up. If he keeps the ball down, they're going to get a lot of ground ball outs, and that's exactly what he did tonight. The Red Sox gave him a tremendous break in the second inning when they let him off the hook with the bases loaded, and after that, he just got tougher and tougher.
Yeah, he got into a groove, and they were pounding it into the dirt. Meantime, again, Jim, Daisuke Matsuzaka, just like against the Angels, couldn't make it through 5 innings.
That's the thing there. I mean, when you were looking at him, you're talking about locations. I mean, as far as speed-wise, he got up to about 93, sometime 94. But if you're not hitting your location with the team that you're playing against right now, pretty hot.
Jerry, early on, he seemed to be establishing that fastball like we talked about on the pregame show. It looked like it would be a good night for Daisuke.
Yeah, and you know, Tom, he struck out the first 3 strikeouts that he had with his fastball, which I was happy to see because he got back to throwing it. Here he gets his first strike against Cabrera, a ball away from him, and then he'll get Travis Hafner on a strikeout with a fastball. And the third strikeout for Daisuke coming in the second inning comes against Peralta. But then after that, he made a mistake to Kenny Lofton on a fastball. He gave up the home run, then he abandoned it. And after that, it was back to all the stuff, the cut fastballs, the breaking balls. And when they got their 2 runs in the 5th inning, every hit in that inning came off something off speed. So after the mistake to Lofton, then he went back to the breaking balls.
Yeah, the mistake to Lofton, a fastball, and just a classic case of mislocation.
Absolutely, absolutely. You know, that ball was supposed to be away from Kenny Lofton, and instead of being away, it's inside. And that's the only ball that really Kenny can hit out of the ballpark, Jim. You can't go the other way deep. If the ball is inside, he gets a chance to pull it. And here you'll see the mislocation. Vertek wants the fastball away. Watch the location, middle in, and that's exactly how Kenny Lofton hit the ball out of the ballpark.
And you know, when you like Kenny Lofton, you're looking for something inside that you can bail and well, because like you say, he can't hit the ball out the opposite way.
And a couple of more runs in the 5th inning, and as you said, it seemed after that home run, he was a little more hesitant to go to the fastball. Didn't want to get beat with it.
And he had a good one tonight. That's the thing. We talked about it all year long. You know, you don't think he uses it enough, and it looked like tonight he had a game plan where he was going to use it. He started off well with it, and then after the home run, it seems like he abandoned it. If you look at his strikeouts after that, they were both on breaking balls, and then, of course, the 5th inning comes along, and that's when he starts throwing all the cutters and the sliders and the curveballs, which he had a pretty decent curveball, I thought, in parts of this game, but it was the breaking pitches that got him into trouble in this inning. There's the breaking ball again, back up the middle, past the dive of Pedroia as the run comes back home. And
then a big play here as Hafner hits a ground ball, but he'll beat it out just enough. Nice play by Pedroia. Hafner beats it out and keeps the inning alive. It was just that kind of night for the Red Sox.
It was. That's a big slow man right there. A nice play by Pedroia, but it was clear on the replay. We watched it 2 or 3 different times that Hafner did beat it out, and of course that was the 4th run of the ball game.
And you'll see it is indeed just a bang-bang play, but he does beat it out. The call was correct. And after that play, the inning moving along, and Victor Martinez, it's all you can do with 2 strikes.
Well, you had the feel there. If you hit a pitch like that, it's not going to be the Red Sox night. I mean, that was a pretty good changeup that Matsuzaka threw. Was about 6 inches off the outside edge. The off-balance swing, he just reaches out and punches the other way. And, of course, that was it for Daisuke for the night.
But see, the thing with a breaking ball, you can do a lot of things with the breaking ball. He could hit the breaking ball the other way. If the ball was a little hard, he could pull the ball. But like Jerry said, he went away from his fastball. So now when you start throwing your breaking ball, you're speeding the guy's bats up.
And that's what they got beat with. Let's go to Terry Francona live at the podium in Cleveland.
Can you take a mic? Yeah.
Terry, looking back on this game, the second inning, the turning point in this game, looking back on it, you get the bases loaded, don't get anything, they come out and get the 2-run homer. Is that kind of where this one went wrong for you guys?
Well, it was a really pivotal point. And Westbrook came out and looked a little strong early. You know, got some pitches up. Ended up bases loaded, nobody out. Through Jason, I think a slider that kind of maybe stayed right where it was or backed up. Got the short pop up to left, and then made a real good pitch to Coco. Then after that, it looked like he really got locked in, started letting that sink work, threw some cutters, and they come back and tack 2 on. Daisuke throws a fastball that runs probably middle in to Kenny, ends up being a big swing. I agree.
Another question? Tim?
Terry, against Carmona, taking the first pitch worked really well for you guys. You hit out of 1-0 counts almost all night long. And tonight, it looked like you had sort of a similar strategy. You let that ball that looked like a strike fall out of the bottom. But you seemed to hit out of 0-1 counts all night long. Is there some sort of way those things sort of overlap onto each other, that strategy?
The strategy is, especially with guys that are sinking the ball, is to get pitches up in the zone that you could handle. With Carmona, the ball was out of the zone. It was ball 1. Tonight, those were down. They were really good pitches. I don't know that we want to do a whole lot with those, but that's what pitching's all about. You work ahead and you stay out of the middle of the plate. That's why guys are effective.
Who else? Gordon, I'm down here.
Terry, can you talk about Matsuzaki's outing today and if it differed at all from Anaheim?
You know, when you look at, I don't know what the final count was, 101. It's a lot of pitches. So I mean, it's a lot of deep counts. Saying that, he made the one glaring mistake to Lofton, the 2-run home run. You know what? It was, again, it's a lot of pitches, and the more pitches you throw, especially the dangerous hitters, the better chance you give them. I mean, that's, the same concept that we talk about all the time. They kind of reversed it on us. I thought he threw some good pitches. I thought he had some depth to his slider, and there was some differential. I thought his fastball was good. Just, a lot of deep counts.
Here, in the front.
Terry, obviously, mistakes are magnified at this time of the year. Big Papi, what was he thinking on that ball hit in front of him there at second base that hits him?
He, because they're not holding him, he had such a big lead, and he took a jab step towards third, and I think he realized he was in no man's land, and he stopped, and it hit him. By that point, he's probably out anyway, but I think the reason he got out there is because, again, he's not a base stealer. He's working hard to get a secondary, had a big secondary, so he can score on a hit, and he got himself in a little bit of no man's land.
1 or 2 more? There.
Speaking of Ortiz, can you say much about the condition of his knee? Is it okay? I mean, was there any sort of after effect, soreness or anything?
After effects from what?
Being hit with the ball.
Oh, no. Okay. He's hit a ball off the left field wall. He lined out to right and hit a bullet past first base, and they turned for a double play. No, he's fine.
1 more? Okay, thank you.
Okay.
For those of you who asked, Daisuke Matsuzaka is going to speak.
And talking about Daisuke Matsuzaka, just to wrap up our discussion on him, 101 pitches again, 4 2/3 innings, 4 2/3 innings with 101 pitches. Again, that pitch count, which seemed to be low early, got high real fast.
And it's been the story of his postseason. It's been the story of a lot of his season, where he's been into the 5th or 6th inning, and he's already, near that 100-pitch mark. And of course, as Francona said, the more pitches you see, the better chance you have to have success. It's amazing to me how, I know he's a strikeout pitcher, but the fact is, how many times he runs a 3-2 count, a 2-2 count, you get some foul balls. It's very strange to watch him pitch, and it's frustrating actually when he starts out the way he did tonight, throwing fastballs, and he starts going back to all that junk, and when he starts going to the junk, that's when the pitch count seems to go up.
And Jim, it seems like we've been saying it all year long. You'd like him to go after hitters, be more aggressive and attack.
Well, when you're talking about a hitter like myself, I don't know about Jerry, but it's like, if you are trying to fool around with me, I'm going to get you. But if you go at me and when I'm not expecting, you're going to get me out a lot of times. So when you have a hitter in a situation where you can get him out, try not to give him too many pitches. Go after this guy. And plus, you're going to cut down on your pitches, and you got a better chance to keep your team in the game.
Yeah, you saw that graph. 25-pitch inning in the 4th, I think, a 28-pitch in the 5th, where he only got 2 outs. I mean, those are very long innings.
And we also saw, Tom, like as we mentioned in the pregame show, the fact about pitching inside with his fastball. There were a couple of occasions occasions early in the game where he did that, and then it disappeared. And it was back to the same old stuff, you know, back over the plate with the cutter, with the changeup, with the curveball, with the slider. And it seemed like he forgot to go back inside with those fastballs. I mean, these guys are sitting on off-speed pitches, I think, you know, as they get deeper into the count. And instead of busting guys inside with the fastball, he continues with the off-speed stuff.
Now, is that a pitcher decision, you think, or is that a catcher decision? Like you said, that he was throwing good fastballs, and all of a sudden he gets away from it. Now he wants to work on his other 3 or 4 pitches as far as breaking balls. But you have the hitters in a position where you can get them out with the breaking ball. I mean, with the fastball.
You know, I watched tonight, and early in the season, he would never shake off Veritek. You know, he threw every single pitch that Veritek would call because he knew the league. Now I notice more and more that Daisuke, as he's getting through this league a little bit and sees guys more, he's calling his own pitches. I saw him shake off Veritek a couple of times tonight, and so I think, you know, he's calling his own game now.
That's hard to do because it takes so long for Tech to get the signals down. You get the thumb, and we heard all about it
all kind of stuff
during the broadcast. Red Sox beating. We'll talk about Jake Westbrook. He was efficient, and we'll talk about those early opportunities. Bases loaded, nobody out. Early on in the second inning, couldn't get a run across. That ultimately hurt the Red Sox right now. Let's go back to Cleveland. Check in with Tina Cervasio with the Jake.
Go ahead.
Tom, as you can see, members of the media still waiting to head inside the visitors' clubhouse. We will take you in there and get the Red Sox reaction after falling to the Indians tonight. I'll also talk to manager Terry Francona in Terry's take as the Indians take a 2-1 lead in the ALCS.
We will come back with more on that loss in the ALCS as the Red Sox now going to get one back. 2 games now scheduled at Jacobs Field. If the Red Sox don't win one of them, it'll be over. They've got to get a win to bring it back to Boston. They don't win tonight. Jake Westbrook gets a win 4-2. The final, back with more after this.
Coverage of Terry Francona's press conference is brought to you by Sullivan Tire. Always here to get you there.
Ah, another day in Masonville, where the friendly office supply folks from WB Mason give you your own local service team. Yes, your own driver, sales rep, and service person who know you and your business. Well, over in Office Superstore land,
You shipped that order? Ask him.
No, him.
What order?
you get excuses. Now, any questions?
Who are those wonderful people?
Who but WB Mason?
As you know, it doesn't cost much to get a AAA card, but you probably didn't know just how much that little card can save you. Like 30% off eyewear at LensCrafters. Save 10% at Payless Shoe Source on shoes and accessories. Save an average of 20% at over 56,000 pharmacies. In fact, you can save at over 150,000 merchants nationwide. Go to AAA.com/save for a full list of savings. Start saving with your AAA card today.
You know, this has to be my favorite time of the year. That's right, it's Chevy Truck Month.
Now get 0% financing for 60 months for well-qualified buyers on all 07 Silverado regular or half-ton extended cabs. Get 0% APR for 60 months for well-qualified buyers for an average finance savings of $6,036 on any 07 Silverado half-ton extended cab model.
Hey, don't miss out. Get to Chevy Truck Month by October 31st.
See for yourself. Shop and compare at NewEnglandChevyDealers.com.
Game 3 of the American League Championship Series tonight. Daisuke Matsuzaka making his second postseason start as the Sox trying to bounce back from their first postseason loss of the year. Bases loaded here in the second inning. They had them loaded, nobody out, and they don't get a run across. Veritek with a pop fly, then Coco grounds into the double play. 3 innings tonight ending on double plays. And then in the second, the mislocation on the fastball leads to a 2-run homer for Kenny Lofton with Ryan Garco aboard. Indians have a 2-0 lead. They add to it in the 5th as Drupal Cabrera, with a base hit back up the middle, Casey Blake will come in to score. Grady Sizemore moves along to third. Part of an inning where, again, the lack of a fastball maybe here, just a couple of ground balls getting through some holes, but it was one of those nights where everything that kind of went wrong did go wrong for the Red Sox.
Yeah, nothing in this inning, Tom, was hit very hard at all. It was all off-speed pitches, but it's not exactly like they were crushing the ball, but they were, hitting the ball back up the middle. The great play here by Pedroia, but not quite in time at first base to get Hafner, which eventually becomes the 4th run of the ball game. Credit Hafner for, a guy that can't run and running as hard as he can down the line.
Another double play to end an inning here with Manny at the plate. That's what a sinker ball does. He gets out of innings with double plays, Jim.
Well, sinker ball, you want to get the ball up, at least try to hit the ball the other way. Seems like when you hit the ball the other way, the way it's going right now, you get the ball up in the air. And of course, with Manny, you got the powers all fields. It's a little tough to pull that sinker ball when it's down instead of up.
Jason Varitek gets all this one dead center. That gives him a little life.
Yeah, I wouldn't even call out a mistake by Westbrook. It was down. The ball was down. He had to golf out of the ballpark. The problem with Westbrook there is he got a little too much at home plate, but the ball did stay down for him.
Varitek with the home run, a 2-run shot, as we said. J.D. Drew aboard, and Joe Borowski, for all the negative publicity, if you will, coming into this series, he got the job done tonight. A 1-2-3 9th inning, and he gets the save with a 2-run lead. So the Red Sox are beaten 4-2, despite holding the Indians to just 6 hits all tonight, all 6. Coming off Daisuke Matsuzaka, you see the offense for the Red Sox tonight. Nobody had more than 1 hit. And Jason Varitek drove in both runs with the homer, the 2-run shot that came in the 7th inning. Dustin Pedroia over 4 at the top of the order. Timlin, Okajima, and Del Carmen, the upside in all this. 3 1/3 inning of hitless, scoreless relief. Let's go back to Jacobs Field and hear from the Cleveland manager, Eric Wedge.
Eric, can you just, two-part question here, talk about Westbrook, 15 of his 20 outs, ground balls, 3 double plays, and then your bullpen, 7 up, 7 down. I mean, you and Carl couldn't have scripted it any better, really.
Well, you always know it's you got a chance to have a good day with Jake if he's putting the ball on the ground the way he was. I felt like he was aggressive. He worked ahead. He was consistent within his delivery. Slowed himself down when he needed to slow himself down. Good rhythm and tempo when that time was appropriate. Obviously, they've got an outstanding lineup over there, but Jake did a good job controlling the ball game. We made some fantastic defensive plays, some big double plays, and whenever you have the ability to get 2 outs with 1 pitch, it goes a long way, for you.
Tim.
Eric, specifically on the double play in the first inning, how good was the play that Cabrera made to start that double play?
Yeah, Cabrera was great with his hands, and then we got Casey Blake coming across the bag too. So he hasn't done a whole lot of that in his career, but he did a good job of hanging in there, and Garca was fantastic, with his pick and staying on the bag. That's about as good a double play as you're going to see with 3 players, being pretty good with what they're trying to do right there, and having to be pretty quick about it.
On the aisle there. Yeah.
Eric, can you talk about Kenny tonight and just how he's been performing?
He's a big game player. I mean, he likes the stage. It's important for people to understand just what it takes to be a big game player and to see it right in front of them. And this is a guy that has a lot of experience in the postseason. He understands how to slow himself down. He understands just what it takes to have the right heartbeat, with all the experience he's had and the great teams that he's been on. And for him to go out there and get us going like that, our first game here at home in this series, it really got us kick-started.
Mel.
Speaking of kick-start, Eric, what did a good, strong performance out of a starter do for,
Okay. Well, I'll get you the answer to that question another time. We saw the double play there, and obviously the Red Sox had some opportunities. From that first inning double play on, you had the feeling that this was not going to be the Red Sox night. The killer, obviously, the second inning. You load the bases with nobody out, and you got an opportunity to get something done. You can't get one across.
Yeah, and at that point of the game, Westbrook was not great. The Red Sox, the hard double play that Ortiz had hit into in the first inning got him out of that trouble. And, of course, with the bases, we'll take a look at the double play first, which is a nice double play. They're playing him in a pull. It's a bad throw by Blake, but a nice play over there at first base by Garco. So they get a couple of big outs on that one. And then, of course, here's another double play that's turned over. Actually, that's the same play. Yeah, from that angle, it didn't look like he was playing him as much
and
to
again,
pull.
they had a walk from Youkilis, not a huge rally. It's just a nice defensive play. But the big one again, the second inning, when they had a walk, a base hit, and an error. So you get the bases loaded, nobody out. You got to get a run across here.
Yeah, this is where he settled down, and that's not a real good pitch right there to Varitek. It was just a bad breaking ball that he pops up and not deep enough for anybody to score. And then he comes back to get the double play against Coco Crisp. And once this happened, his confidence level was really high. And then after that, that. Very seldom in the game did he get a ball up in the zone.
Yeah, we talk so much about momentum in the game or what carries over, but you get out of a jam like that, you got the feeling something's going to happen. Sure enough, Lofton hits the homer in the bottom half of the inning.
Yeah, I mean, because now you're talking about a pitcher say, look, I'll save 2 runs instead of maybe 3 runs, or even just 1 run. And so now all the momentum goes back to the home team. Of course, when you got a guy like Kenny Lofton up there, if you get him on base as far as not a base hit, but you walk him, he's a second base anyway.
No, the Red Sox beating tonight 4-2. They got to try to come back now as the Indians essentially holding court here. They took one on the road. Now they're at home, and they win their first home playoff game of this ALCS. Our WB Mason delivery of the game came for the Indians. That's Kenny Lofton back in an Indians uniform. This is why they got him, trying to lead the way in the postseason. They say he's got the right kind of heartbeat. Well, he's got the right swing here. That's a 2-run homer in the second inning, rather. And ultimately, the Indians win this one by 2. 4-2 is the final.
Soxtober on NESN is presented by Jordan's Furniture, the official furniture store of the Boston Red Sox.
Baffled by a strange disease that stretches the arms of people buying copy paper at office superstores, scientists at the W.B. Mason Institute studying the problem shocked the world by announcing a cure.
Free same-day delivery.
Call 1-888-WB-MASON by 11. Your copy paper will be delivered by 5. Now, a happy ending is well within reach.
Oh, but W.B. Mason.
Leather gives you that feeling of restfulness, and you want to just sit and relax. When people come into my house, I want them to feel comfortable and be able to sit down and not worry about the furniture. And leather, because it's so rugged, that's what leather does. Leather is the type of furniture that actually looks better with age. Just like me. On a fall day, just coming in from maybe playing some football with the kids, lying on the sofa, lighting a fire, and the smell of the fire, the smell of leather. It's very relaxing. Right, Callie?
First 8-speed automatic transmission. The LS, unprecedented. At your Lexus dealer.
Well, perhaps the 2 most important stats of this game, the 14-3 ground ball to fly ball out ratio for sinker baller Jake Westbrook tonight clearly tells you he had that ball down in the zone and thrown a lot of first pitch strikes. 21 first pitch strikes out of 27 batters. That plays into the patience of the Red Sox batters. Didn't help him out tonight because he was getting ahead of them 0-1 every time, and then they had to swing at those sinker balls. If he was getting them in the strike zone but down, they were going to have trouble, and he did.
Absolutely. And, you know, the question was asked to Francona in his press conference, well, why not the same approach against Westbrook as Carmona? Well, the fact is Carmona was all over the place. He wasn't throwing strikes. Westbrook was throwing strikes, and he was throwing strikes about knee-high, and they knew he was going to be down there all night. So when a guy's throwing that many first-pitch strikes, eventually you start swinging after the first pitch.
Well, I mean, if the umpire's calling the balls, you know, we saw a couple, too, that they were out of the zone a little bit, but still the umpire gave him the strike. But when the umpire consistent giving those strikes, and you think they're balls, but the umpires are calling them, you have to go for them now and then, because if not, umpire's going to give a strike to him.
Seemed to be a tight strike zone on the inside-outside part of it, but he was getting that low strike call most of the night.
Yeah, he got hurt a couple of times on balls that were, you know, close to being strikes on the corners that were not called that should have been. But he had what he wanted, and of course that was the low strike, and that's what any sinker ball pitcher is going to tell you. Look, you can take everything else away from me, but when I throw a ball maybe 2 inches below the knee, I want that pitch, and he was getting it tonight.
And he was consistent.
Yeah, totally different from the guy we saw pitch against the Yankees. And again, you wonder pitching at home versus pitching at Yankee Stadium, maybe a little more calm, a little more in control.
He was terrible against the Yankees. He was terrible in a game he pitched against the Red Sox earlier this season because everything was about belt high, and those guys can't operate that way.
But you as a hitter, you know that you got to go up there and make a change. You know this guy's throwing you sinker balls. What you got to do? You got to move up on the plate, or you got to move up in the box.
You don't see that anymore, though.
That's right. But long as you as a catcher, or as a pitcher, you're seeing that the hitters are not moving anything like that, I'm going to stay the same way until you make an adjustment.
Well, now you've seen a lot of work out of the bullpen 2 out of 3 days here, the last 2 games. You got Tim Wakefield coming tomorrow. We'll be talking about that because you don't know what you're going to get from a guy who hasn't pitched in a couple of weeks here with the sore shoulder. We do know what the Indians got from Jake Westbrook, and they got a victory. Let's hear from the pitcher after the game.
Jake, how important was that second inning, getting out of that with 0 runs allowed, with bases loaded, nobody out?
Well, I mean, I think for me, I was just trying to, early on, I was trying to get Veritek get into a double play, or, try to just keep it at least 1 run. But I made a good pitch on him and got a pop fly, and then got behind Coco, and then just told myself to trust the sinker, and I was able to do that. Made a good pitch and got a double play, which was big for us.
In the back there, Jake.
Jake, can you just talk about attacking the hitters? It looked like you drew a lot of strike one on the first pitch, and a little different than maybe CeCe and Fausto had done.
Well, I mean, that's kind of the what you have to do against these guys. I mean, they're a very patient team. If you start out 1-0, it's not to your advantage. So you try to get ahead tonight, and was able to do that, and put myself in some good counts, and was able to make some good pitches when I needed to.
I don't know. Terry Francona said something about obviously the plan was to not swing it.